I'd like to ask you if this sounds like it could be a very common scenario where a manager or some worker comes up and says, "Oh, goodness, I've been making some changes to a document over the last several weeks, and I need to go back or at least get a copy of what that document looked like, well, let's say 2 weeks ago. Can you do that for me?" Well, the great news is because of versioning inside of SharePoint, and if we're using SharePoint and document libraries to store and share our documents, the answer is absolutely yes. It's pretty tough to use version control inside of SharePoint for a document library if it's not enabled. Now, fortunately for us, it is enabled by default, but there's also some additional settings that we may want to either verify or tweak depending on our SharePoint environment and how we want to do versioning. And one of the big questions for you and I is, do we want to track just major versions like 1 and version 2 and version 3, or do we want to do major and minor like 1.1 and 1.2 and 1.3, and then after that's approved, go to version 2, and then have 2.1 and 2.2 and so forth. And one of the benefits of version control is that if a document is updated and it's not right, or you want to roll back to a previous iteration of that document, we can go ahead and do version management and we can restore to a specific version. And so without further ado, let's log on to our Windows 10 machine in our hands-on lab environment and demonstrate exactly how to do that. So here we are at the Windows 10 machine. Now, we've walked through together in our previous nuggets on how to log into the Windows 10 computer and what the password is. So for this nugget and subsequent nuggets, I'm going to just presume that you and I know how to do the logon to this Windows 10 computer in the hands-on lab environment. So now that we're here, let's go ahead and create a simple text document. So to do that on this computer, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Windows icon in the bottom left-hand corner of this Windows 10 machine. And I'm going to type in Notepad and press enter. And in Notepad, let's just create a simple text document with one line. This document has just one line. Great. And then we'll save it. We'll do a Control S to save it. And we'll go ahead and call it our document. And let's save this on the desktop so it'll be really easy to find if we ever need to upload it into SharePoint. So we'll go ahead and click on Save. And there's our document right there. So let me go ahead and minimize Notepad. And next, let's launch Chrome from our taskbar and connect over to the SharePoint server at srv1.nuglab.com. We'll log in as administrator with the password of nugget !23 with a capital N at the beginning and click Login. And here we are at the top level site. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and choose a document library to work with. And because we know that engineering has one and there's a couple of files in it, on the quick launch area over on the left hand side, let's go ahead and click on the link for the engineering subsite to take us to the engineering subsite. And then on the quick launch for the engineering subsite, we've got the engineering document library. So we'll go ahead and click on that to take us to that document library. So the first thing we want to do for this document library is just to verify what the current settings are regarding versioning. And to do that, we need to take a look at the settings for this document library. Now, there's a couple of different ways of getting to the settings for this document library. And you know what's pretty cool is that in the future, if they change or give us additional links to get to the settings for the document library, it's not going to be a showstopper. So they can make changes to the interface, but as long as we know where to go for the functionality, we're in great shape. So to get to the settings for this document library, there's two ways that we could do it right here. One is we could click on the Library tab, and then from the Library ribbon for this document library, over on the right, we have the Library settings. We've been here before when we wanted to delete the library in a previous nugget. Another way of getting to these same settings is to go to the site contents for this site, and then hovering over the engineering document library, clicking on the ellipsis, and then in the pop-up, there's an option for settings as well. Again, it doesn't really matter how we get to the settings for this document library. That's where the version control settings are. So now that we're here in this left column under General Settings, we have the Versioning Settings option. So we'll go ahead and click on Versioning Settings. So it's showing us that in Settings, we're now in the Section 4 Versioning Settings. And the part I'd like to focus on right now is this aspect right here. And it's the question of, do we want to create a version each time we edit a file in this document library? So we can have different versioning controls for different document libraries. And the options are basically three things. Number one, I don't want to do any versioning. Number two, I want to do major versions, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Or the third option is I want to do major and minor versioning. And the question may come up, well, what's the benefit of doing the minor versioning along with the major? And one of the benefits is that we can control who sees which documents. For example, let's say we have a team of people working on a document and there are several revisions and there's somebody who's going to do a final approval. All those little revisions could be minor revisions. And then once it's approved, it goes to the next higher full revision number. And the benefit of that is we can control that the users who are accessing documents, for example, just the viewers of those documents, we can make it so that those users can only see the major revisions. They cannot see the minor revisions and drafts. They can only see the major versions. And that way we're not handing out documents for public consumption until they're absolutely ready. So for this demonstration, we're going to leave the Create Major Versions radio button selected. And if we scroll down a little bit, it's specifying right here that by default it's going to keep 500 of the major versions. So we could change that number if we wanted to. And if we'd selected the option for major and minor for versions, we would then have an option to specify how many drafts. So the drafts are referring to the minor revisions that have been created. And an example of doing the major and minor would be we have a team that's working a document. We have version 1 that's out there. And then as the team works on it, we're doing minor revisions. There's 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And as far as permissions go, who should be able to see the draft items in this document library? These options down here control who could see those minor revisions, which are referring to as drafts. So those look good for our demonstration. Let's go ahead and go back to the engineering document library by clicking on the quick launch area, the link for that. And let's go ahead and upload our text document that we have on our Windows 10 computer. Now in SharePoint, there's a boatload of functionality for drag and drop. So it's saying that right here. So in a fully functional SharePoint environment, the drag and drop feature is amazing when it's set up and working correctly. For the demonstration today, I am going to use the upload option just to manually select the file. So we'll go ahead and click on upload in our lab. So we'll click on choose files. We'll go ahead to our desktop, and on the desktop, we'll go ahead and double click our document. And we'll click on OK. So it's now uploaded, or it's in the process of uploading to our SharePoint server to the engineering document library. And here it is right here. So if we wanted to see the versioning information, we could use the ellipsis. We could also go ahead and use our document link itself by simply right-clicking on it. So if we right-click on our document, from the drop-down we have the option for version history. If we select that, it shows us that we currently have version 1.0. So let me go ahead and close that pop-up. And let's go back to our document on the desktop, and let's add another line. This is a doc with a second line. And we'll go ahead and do a Control S to save that. We'll minimize that, and let's re-upload that file. So I'll click on the upload link. We'll click on choose files. We'll grab our document again by double-clicking on it and click on OK. So now it's been uploaded again, and let's do it one more time. We'll go to our text document. We'll put a third line in. We'll do a Control S to save that. We'll minimize that, and let's upload it one more time by clicking on the upload link inside the engineering document library. We'll click choose files. We'll go ahead and double click on our document once more to select it, and we'll go ahead and click on OK. So now if we want to take a look at the versioning information for this document, we could right click on it and select version history. That certainly brings it up, version 1, version 2, version 3, or we could go ahead and click on the ellipsis, which brings up this menu, and then we can click on the ellipsis again here. And then from that menu, we can also launch version history. It's going to give us the same results either way. So in the version history area, we have version 1, version 2, and version 3. If we click on this version 3, that's still using our browser, and it's just opening up the contents of this text document in the browser. So you'll notice this is our document that has the 3 lines in it, which is version 3 of this document. Now, if we wanted to restore that, I'm going to click on the back arrow here, because this is the same browser window that we're using for access into SharePoint. So I'm going to hit the back arrow to take us back to that document library. If we wanted to restore a version of this document, for example, let's say we liked it as version 2, we want that to be the current version. To do that, we're going to right click on our document, go to version history, and from here we'd go to version 2, use the drop down, and we can simply say restore. Now what that's going to do, it's going to make a version 4 of this document, which is exactly identical as far as the contents to version 2. So we'll click on restore. It says you're about to replace the current version with the selected version. We'll click on OK, and now you'll notice that we do have the version 4. And if we were to open that up, which we are going to right now, and take a look at the contents of that, we can see that it's just the document with the 2 lines in it. And based on the default, we could do this for up to like 500 times as far as it keeping track of all the versions. So I'll go ahead and click back once more to take us back to our document library. In this nugget, we've done 3 basic things. Number 1, we identified where we'd go, which is the settings section for the document library, to control the versioning options. And secondly, we identified the options, which is no versioning at all, or major and minor. And then third, we took a look at how to not only view the versions of a file, but also how to do a restore to a previous version if we need to do that. And now that we've done this together in this nugget, I would encourage you once more to do what you've seen here in this nugget in the hands-on lab environment to get that hands-on practice and reinforce these skills. So have some fun, take a few minutes and do that from a computer. Meanwhile, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.